It's time for your attention. Three of you, since I've gotten here, have come up to me. We're going to jazz hand you. You've come up to me and said, Nicole, I'm here because I'm out of debt, and now I get to go to events. So Good job. I love meeting people at these events who have taken control of their lives and made that one step, because that's the first step towards much more stability, much more control of your life. Speaking of being out of debt and not wanting to be in the city, we've got Chris here to talk with us about strategic relocation. When I asked him how to introduce him, he said, long-time listener, first-time caller, and that's what you get.
Yeah.
So come on.
Yeah. Check. Radio. Is the mic on? Mic. Hello. Mic. Hello. Talk to the, yeah. Hello. Ah, it's coming up. All right. Can you hear me? Everyone hear me? All right. Thanks. My name is Chris Prater, and I'm here to talk about this topic here today. We're going on a bit of a journey today. It may not be the direction you think that I'm going to go. This is what I've been doing for the last couple of years. That's why I haven't been here. In the past, I've been here. I taught beekeeping and scythe work and nuisance animal control on the homestead, small engine maintenance, right? I did blacksmithing up at Perma Ethos. I made all those events up there. But I've been here for years because I've been busy. Jack, I want to thank Jack for allowing me to be here. If any of you have a topic that you think you can talk about, fill out the form. There's nothing like it, because for me, this is what I went through, but putting on a presentation makes me actually think about how I feel and think about what I went through and actually put together a PowerPoint presentation. On the PowerPoint presentation, I decided to do this because I literally did not know how to use PowerPoint. And this forced me to learn a new skill. And that is what we're all about. The elephant in the room. Yes, I know I only have one glass in my eyeglasses. I've been talking to all of you this week, and you've all been very polite. You're kind of looking at me that way, but you've all been really polite. You haven't asked. I had a new lens put in this eye about 4 months ago. I did a replacement lens exchange. I was dependent on glasses to see near and far. I realized that is a negative part of my life, and there was something we can do about it. I'm getting a new lens in this one. In a couple of months, we'll do LASIK on it. I'll have 20/20 vision in this eye for the rest of my life. Then we'll do this one. I'll never have to use these again. That makes me more independent. So that's why I only have one glass. Lynn makes fun of me. My wife, Lynn, she's been on this journey with me. My wife, Lynn, makes fun of me. She'll be cleaning her glasses in the car, and she'll say, hey, do you need me to clean your glass? So I want to thank all the staff here that Jack puts together. It's good breakfast, jazz hands. We could not do this without them. Little more about me. I'm an early retiree. I retired at 51. I worked hard, saved my money. That's what John Pugliano told me to do. Jack said have side hustles. I did. I hustled, and I got there. I want to thank Jack. Debt-free. Life is good. Early retiree. Homestead, the whole 9 yards. So we're going on a little prepper journey today and see where we get to. Strategic relocation. Let's start just by a simple definition. Strategic relocation. Relocation is easy. Move from here to there. Could be short term, could be long term, could be fast, could be slow. That's easy. Strategic, for a reason. So we're moving somewhere for a reason with a plan. Okay, we can all agree that that's a simple definition. Also the same definition as bug out, isn't it? I'm going to bug out. I'm going over there because it's not safe here. So bug out is strategic relocation. How about could be the same words for exit plan, right? I'm here. I need an exit plan to get over there. And we're going to come back to the exit plan later in the presentation. I've been a prepper my whole life. back in high school, when I was a sophomore in high school back in the 70s, I had a subscription to Mother Earth News when Mother Earth News was a good magazine. Now it's not. Okay. I did term papers in high school on Ayler's Underground House book. I mean, I had friends who were back to the landers from the 60s. So this is what we're experiencing now in the Back to the Land movement. Is not the first time this has come around. You're not reinventing the wheel. You're just rediscovering what's always been there. So I've been at this a long time and gone through a whole lot of iterations of what being a prepper, being a homesteader, being a back to the lander really means. I love this. I mean, we can all give. I know Jack said several times, or easy to remember. This is perfect, man. You know, I go through my day wondering, is this to help me live a better life when times get tough, or even if they don't? So it's a great thing to go by. I was also Boy Scout. In fact, I'm an Eagle Scout. Not a former Eagle Scout. I'm an Eagle Scout. I got my Eagle Scout back in the 70s when that meant something. Yeah. All right. Now you have to have a merit badge in gender studies to get that.
Do you really?
No, not really. No. True story. Part of what I did in my early life, I was a Boy Scout camp ranger. I ran a Boy Scout camp, and back then we taught pioneering and you know, rubbing sticks together to make fires and everything like that. I was back at my old Boy Scout camp just last year, and we have an old dining hall, and they have a new dining hall now. We had the old one, and I went in there, and they had robotics going on at the Boy Scout camp. And I questioned the current ranger, because once you're a ranger, you're always a ranger. I questioned him. I said, what's the deal? Why are all the kids in there? He says, that's our most active program area. If we don't have that, they will not come. They were assembling BattleBot robots to have wars at camp. I'm no longer a member of the Boy Scouts of America. They've changed around me. Change is something we'll also come back to. Well, we'll get to that. So, but I did always have loved the Boy Scout motto, be prepared. And I used to wonder when I was a kid, why do we say that? Be prepared. Be prepared for what? It was very vague, very ambiguous, but I think it was that way on purpose. Be prepared for life. But is that not the same thing that says, right? Be prepared for life. So I decided early on I was going to be a prepper. Again, way back in high school, I carried a ferro rod. I carried a pocket knife when that wasn't allowed in high school. And so it was always been part of my DNA. So you decide you want to be a prepper. Well, the very first thing, especially for those of you on the live stream, the very first thing, and I noticed most of you have got your prepper talisman on, right? If you do not have one of these, you can get one at mtknives.com. This is your membership pass right here. .net. All right. Patrick's a great guy. He makes a wonderful knife, and he's one of us, right? He came from this community. So we all support when we can. Support each other. That's what this is all about. All kidding aside, once you get your neck knife, the first thing you realize, oh, shit's not what we think it is. I need to be a prepper. What are you going to get? You're going to get a bug out bag, right? Right? All right. Bug out bag. So this is your first step. Well, this is your first step. This is your second step to prepping. You get a bug out bag. And I'm a tool guy. You know, you got your flashlights, you got your little pliers, your crescent wrench, you got some first aid stuff in there, maybe. You might have, you know, that kind of stuff in there. But the most important thing that I have in my bug out bag comes back here. And I stopped calling this a bug out bag. You did a podcast with a guy from Hurricane Katrina out of New Orleans. And lessons learned from New Orleans is probably the topic of it. I learned a lot from that. That guy had to vacate New Orleans with nothing but what's in his pockets. And he ended up in Houston. I think it was Houston. And he thought, well, I'll be back. Well, he didn't go back because New Orleans wasn't there anymore. He had nothing. But what he couldn't do, he couldn't even prove he had a driver's license. He couldn't prove who he was, couldn't prove, let me find the right one here, couldn't prove his educational status, couldn't prove whether he was married or not. He's looking at FEMA camp. He wanted to be there with his wife. Prove you're married. I got nothing that says I'm married. Well, let's call the courthouse. Let's call the courthouse down in Louisiana. It was underwater, and the records were probably stored in the basement, and it didn't have power. So one of the things I carry, and I have 3 of these in my bag, and if you don't have one of these, this is lesson number 1. Documents. All your documents need to be here. Now, all this can be on a thumb drive, and I have a thumb drive in here with just the basic stuff. I have multiple terabyte hard drives in here with everything I need to restart my life somewhere else on this drive. Wills, medical records, insurance forms, bank stuff, investments. I literally have a picture of everything I own. Every drawer is open. Picture. Close it. Your house burns down. This actually happened to us. Friend's house burned down Christmas night. They were away. Insurance is going to cover it, right? But what kind of coffee maker do you have? Is it a bun that's $150, or is it is it a Mr. Coffee for 10? You have to prove that for them to pay off. If you don't have the pictures, you can't prove it. Pictures of everything. How about your library? Hardest thing for me to move was my library. I love books. I collected books, and at some point, it would be nice if all my books were here instead of that. Driver's license, diplomas. Did you graduate from college? You want a job in Houston after you bug out from New Orleans? Prove it. Prove you graduated from there. If they're underwater and they have no power, then you can't prove it. There's no one to call. Birth certificate, family pictures, all that needs to be on here, and it's something you can do. You've all got a phone. You got a picture taker in your pocket, and I put it here. I mean, you can put it on Google Drive. You put it on Google Pics or whatever it is, what you're comfortable with. I like having a copy. So it can be. If I encrypt it, I'll forget it. Now you're gonna find over the course of this talk, I'll talk about the stuff I can do, but I will also tell you the stuff I can't do. I'm a Luddite when it comes to computers. If anyone know what a Luddite is? All right, yeah. I'm an absolute. Yeah. I'm an absolute Luddite with this stuff. So I try to, okay, grid down all that. Yeah, there's no end of the world as we know it. Yeah, this is not going to be much use, but I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about what's probably going to happen. So now I got my bug out back. And I stopped calling this my bug out back coming home. With this, I can restart my life anywhere else in the world. All right? That's an important concept that we're going to dance around today. This is the bare minimum I need to restart my life somewhere else. Okay? So you got your bug out back. So you've been a prepper for a little while and you're listening to more Jack podcasts, especially the early ones. What do you get next? Oh, and you see, that's a fuzzy picture. This is my very first PowerPoint presentation, and I'm a Luddite. I could not figure out how to grab a photo off of here, put it in here, and make it good. This is a 72-hour bag. That's the next step, right? You got your inch bag. You got your copy canning a little bit. Now you get a 72-hour bag. What's the next step? If you get the 72-hour bag, you get more and more stuff. Oh, get you some food storage. Yeah, you need that because you're a prepper, and we're in this together, and we're gonna be ready for whatever happens down the road. Get you some water storage. More prepared equals more stuff. That's what we're told all the time. When that happens, you need a bug out wheelbarrow. Yep. All right. It is. Well, it is kind of cool, but and I don't want to, You know, Jessica Mills might carry 40 pounds around with her. Good thing. She has everything she needs in 40 pounds. 40 pounds. Everything she needs to get up in the morning, feed herself, bug out to a new location, and bed down for the night. 40 pounds. That's not much. So you get more and more stuff, you get more and more shit, you need a bug out wheelbarrow. So then, we're prepared for 72 hours now. More food storage. Remember Frugal Forums?
Yeah.
Remember packing buckets with Wendy?
I don't.
All right. No. So on Frugal Forums, this was one of the early prepper chat rooms. And we had this series of videos put on packing buckets with Wendy. She showed you how to take 5-gallon buckets, Mylar bags, put the corn in, you put the wheat in, you put the beans in, oxygen absorbers, seal it. And it was a whole series of videos put together on how to do that. So you end up with more and more of this. Get you a Berkey. Got to have a Berkey. You're a prepper, right? Support Berkey.com, right? No. Directive 21. Like you said, because he hates money. Right. You get you one of those, you get your heirloom seed vault. You know, we've all gone down this road. Hermetically sealed, vacuum wrapped, non-GMO.
Non-germinating.
Am I touching any? Am I hitting any nerves here? Right? Am I correct? More stuff equals more prepared until this is your. Yeah. Really? Really? Yeah. So, yeah. I never got there. I never got to here. So there's bugging out, and then I'm going to try to establish bugging out versus bugging in, emergency versus non-emergency. So there with the, here, you're ready for the ultimate emergency bug out. Okay, is there an alternative to bugging out? Sure, we've talked about it lots of times. Bugging in. Oh, see, did you see that? I didn't think that was going to work. So it's the first time you should have seen me. I'm like, where in the hell is the animate button on this? Yeah. Yeah. So there will be no links because I still don't know how to do that. Yeah. All right. Yeah, there's an alternative. It's called bugging in. Not changing where you're at. So sometimes in an emergency, you stay in place. Why is that? Because all your stuff's here. Right. All your shit's here. I call it resources. When my barns got full and I needed another barn, I needed a barn for my resources. See? Yeah, right? And because staying in place sometimes has strategic advantages. If the hurricane is over there, don't bug out over there. You stay here. All right? And, again, if your safety's here, it makes sense to stay here. So that would be an emergency, bug in. Okay? So emergency, we've established that we have them. What about in a non-emergency? Is there a non-emergency bug out or a non-emergency bug in? Sure there is. We're going to go non-emergency bug in first because the other one takes us down a different path. Every day, non-emergency bug in. Every day. You wake up here, you go to sleep here. You just executed a non-emergency bug in. Congratulations. Yeah. And that's a choice you make every day. Today, here is better than anywhere else, so I stay here. And the only reason I'm here because why do we stay put? Why do you stay? When you get up in the morning and make that choice, why do you stay? Why don't you just end up in LA? Well, you were born here. You tend to stay here. That's why I stayed. Why did I stay in Ohio for 58 years? Well, my family was there. My friends were there. My job was there. I had a lot of family expectations. Is that why you're still in where you're at? I had a lot of responsibilities there and inertia. That's where we're going. My stuff was there. I had a lot of stuff. All right, so that's why I stayed. Why I did not execute a non-emergency bug out all the time. So we got emergency bug out, we got emergency bug in, non-emergency bug in. You know what's left? Non-emergency bug out, right? Which is the same thing as strategic relocation, which is the same thing as exit strategy, right? So we're all preppers. We've got plans for all the others. But do you have a plan for this? I didn't. Relocation is changing where you are. Strategic, it means with a plan. Covered that. Why would I relocate? I live in coastal Florida now. We have hurricanes. I have to relocate because of a hurricane. That happens. What if I wanted a job opportunity in another part? What if it just popped up in another part of the country, another part of the world? In Orlando right now, if you're an RN, they're offering $105,000 for 20-week commitment. 410s. You work 410s? Yeah. Now, if you were mobile, if you were Jessica Mills with a 30-pound backpack, you say, I like money. You get on down there. That's why they're short. But nonetheless, and I put Nick up there too, because if I remember right, Nick Ferguson, a couple years ago, spent some time in Corpus Christi on a job.
It was South Texas.
South Texas. I called up Nick and he wasn't home. And I'm like, what are you doing? He says, I'm down here in South Texas on a temporary job assignment. Because it made sense for him to be there for that short time. You know, he was flexible enough that he could take his family and go do that. All right? Because he wasn't hampered by family expectations or anything back in Louisiana. Right? Why relocate? Political climate. In case you haven't noticed, the times, they are a-changing. Right, yeah. I lived in Ohio my whole life, and it was changing. I wasn't. I was the same, but it was changing, and it wasn't as good as it used to be. You may move for tax reasons. Florida has zero income tax. Now that everyone thinks, oh, I won't have to pay any. Well, they get their money. Upgrade gonna get his money. Yeah. Right. Right. So they're gonna get it some other way. But if you structure your life right, structure your taxes right, that can be a significant savings, especially as a retiree. Why would you want to relocate? Because your family's back home.
Family isn't here.
Yeah. We all got that. I mean, we laugh about it, but we all got that. And it's the same with friends. You know, I had a lot of friends back in Ohio. That's part of the reason I left. Yeah. You just have to be realistic. You know, you have to jettison that which is toxic. I love this question. Every time Jack has an open mic question night on the podcast, guy calls in and says, Jack, should I move to Texas? Well, I don't know. You know, and I love that because, well, it depends. Well, it depends. Do you love Texas? What part of Texas? He just did it like a couple of weeks ago. You know, what part of Texas should I move to? Well, hell, I don't know. What do you want to do? You want to raise? Yeah. So I threw that in there because I'm not going to tell you where to go. I would like to say that I did big Venn diagrams about where nuclear fallout is and where taxes are low and where the political climate is and wherever they overlap, that's the perfect spot. But it's going to be different for you. Absolutely going to be different for you. So that's why I put that in. Why we moved. These are the things we wanted. We wanted new friends. We wanted a new community. We still kept some of our old community, but we wanted a new community. I wanted to be warmer. You know, man, I've been shoveling snow my whole life. I've been loading the wood stove my whole life. I mean, if you've ever lived in the Northeast or wherever, you know what I'm talking about. You've all got homesteads. You're shaking your heads. This time of year, I'd be stacking firewood on the porch, tending the wood stove every day, putting the blade on the tractor, getting ready to plow the driveway. I'm tired. I'm 60 next month. I'm done doing that. I don't have to. Had I known the South was so wonderful, I would have went there years ago. And just global. Well, I'm rooting for global warming. It's going to make Ohio great again. But where are people? There's a reason that most of the population of the earth and the world lives closer to the equator than they do to the poles, because it's harder to live there. It's harder. It's easier to live in the South. So we wanted a change in lifestyle. I had businesses, we had jobs, we had work, I had my homestead for all those years. We wanted to change. And this is the most important thing. How many times in your life do you get the opportunity to hit the reset button? To say that you're a lucky man, but to say that all that I've built, all that I've done, maybe it didn't make me happy. Maybe this is an opportunity to change who I am, to change what I do every day. Maybe the path you went down 10 years ago wasn't the path that made you happy. But you're there because, well, I spent all that money on college, and by God, I'm going to teach, even though I hate kids. Right? So hitting the reset button. And here's the secret to this. Whether you hit it yourself or not, it's going to get hit for you pretty soon. It's coming. It's coming around you. I realize that I'm a dinosaur. I'm going extinct. People that do what I do and think like I think are going extinct. And there ain't a damn thing I can do about it. And there's not a damn change I can make in the world. It's going to happen. There's more of them than there are me. All right? This is my opportunity to hit my reset button at my pace on my own time. Okay? So what we're going to execute is a bug out, a non-emergency, long-term bug out. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about our story. My wife, Lynn, has been on this journey with me. I don't know why. I don't deserve it. But so a little bit about my story. I built houses. I built this house 22 years ago. Beautiful house. Loved it. Handmade, everything. I did everything. Nick's been there. Yeah. Cherry floors, doors and windows. I built all the cherry cabinets, cherry trim. Really, really nice house. 12 acres, barns. We raised our family there, and this was my homestead. Had barns up here on the hill, and barns down here, and barns down here, and greenhouse, boneyard up here, stuff. All right, loved it. But here's a typical prepper homestead pattern. So I decided, we get raised bed gardens. I did raised bed gardens, so I need a little tiller, to till up inside, something I can lift up in there. Then you get more raised bed gardens, you get a bigger tiller, right? Then you get more projects and more shit going on. Get a Gravely. Great tool, by the way. Yeah. I had every attachment for it, which was another problem. And then the next thing you know, you got a tractor because. And every prepper category in my life went down this same journey. 72 hours of food is good. Well, then, 6 months supply is even better. If a 6 month supply is good, a 2 year supply of freeze dried is even better. So I went down this whole journey. Had guns. One. Who's got just one gun? Yeah. No, I didn't think so. Right? So I had guns for harvesting game. That's, what is that, an 870, whatever. I had that, yeah. And I had my woodcocked shotgun that I would, it was double barrel, side by side, 16 gauge, beautiful little gun. I would put on tweed jacket with the elbow patches once a year and go hunt woodcock. And then I had my quail gun because it was a 20 gauge. And then I had my pheasant gun, which was what I used to shoot pheasant. I had my elk rifle. You know how many times I went out west and shot elk? Right? I had my bean field rifle, which we used to shoot groundhogs in the bean fields. You know how long it's been since I've seen a groundhog in Ohio? about 10 years. Had all this stuff. I had traps because, grid down, you got to eat, right? That was also part of my business, but I had traps, leg holds. I had cage traps. I had honeybees. Funny thing about the honeybees, I went keto. And now I'm looking at them thinking, huh. Yeah. We had stuff. I mean, stuff.
I remember that.
Yes. We had stuff. Nick has seen my stuff. I had a food room. Literally had a food room. It was our spare bedroom downstairs. Shelving all the way around. Canned goods to a fare thee well. We had a grocery store went out of business in our little town. All right, we lost our grocery store. And then every day for a week, they were marking their stuff down, their canned goods. So every day when it was 80% off or 20% off, we'd go in, we'd get a few flats of green beans and corn and stuff. Then the next day it was 40% off and 60% off. And then it was 80% off. And we're just like, we'll take it all. And I had a grocery store, But now on the other hand, it was 45 miles to the nearest grocery store after they went out. So it was nice to have that stuff on my shelves. But I had a food room. I had 40 buckets of corn and rice, and we packed buckets with Wendy. I had all this stuff. We lived, I had animals, rabbits. We did animal husbandry on the ranch. Nice drilled well, generator, always get my water, grid down, got to have water. Had a backup generator in my generator, right? Yeah, I had 12 jugs of gas marked January through December, right? This is the stuff we've all talked about for years. Had all that stuff. Wood shop, full commercial wood shop. Had a machine shop. I was a tool and die maker at one point. Had a machine shop. Had a fab shop. Welders, bandsaws. Had a full blacksmith shop. Took me 6 years to find that anvil. I'll come back to that. So I had all this stuff. But, I could say, I got the blacksmith shop. Grid down, red dawn. I could forge out hose, and I can plant my seed vault. I'm good. And I justified it to myself. That's why I have all that stuff. Now, it was a hobby. Yep. And in some cases, if you're smart, it was a business. So if I convinced myself that I needed all this stuff to be as prepped as I needed to be, if I spent my whole life getting there, so I really struggled with this slide. Spent my whole life prepping for what might happen if times get tough. But I've been hearing this shit since I was 12. Global warming, global cooling, blue helmets in the street. None of that's happened. I've been prepping for the wrong thing. I've been prepping for hard times. I didn't spend enough time prepping for today or tomorrow. I spent my time, my energy prepping for something that has not yet happened. And probably not likely to happen. Grid may go down for a day or two, but like Jack says, someone's going to get it back up. We're not going to be without that. Can't get to your Bitcoin. It'll fix itself. We'll be all right. Yep.
We'll burn down the last oak tree.
Yeah.
People turn off one Xbox.
That's right. So now I spend my time prepping for now. Even for times even if they don't get bad. And it's a bit of a change in mindset that I'm gonna kind of throw at you. Should have been happy having all that stuff, but I was not. I had a beautiful homestead, productive. I was not happy. But I began to see all of my possessions as anchors. Instead of lifting up my life, they were dragging me down. Because I had all this stuff that had to be stored, organized, cleaned, maintained. Greater negative than positive. About 4 years ago, I was here. I did a small engine seminar. right? Some of you are shaking your heads. You remember that. When I came here that time, before I came that week, I walked around my homestead and I counted how many small engines I had on my homestead. And the number was 34. All right? String trimmers, chainsaws, backup chainsaws, backup to the backup chainsaw because you might get both of them stuck in a log. Boat motors, Graveleys, tractors. This didn't count my vehicles. I had 5 vehicles, by the way. This didn't count my vehicles. So I had 34 small engines to keep spark plugs for, to keep air filters for, to keep carburetor rebuild kits for, to keep them running. I had a lot of storage space and a lot of money invested in keeping those engines running just because I was prepped, man. I was ready. You know, I had a backhoe. If you have a backhoe, then you need a dump trailer. If you have a dump trailer and a backhoe, well, you need plate compactors because you're going to dig a hole and you want it to be firm in the bottom. And it goes on and on and on. Okay? And then the biggest factor is as I got older, and I'm getting old now, I can say that because I am one, homestead work gets harder. It gets to be not as much fun as it used to be when I was 30. You know, a lot of you are young. You know, I hear a lot of stories. You know, I talked to Kevin a whole lot earlier this week. He's getting older too. And he's kind of looking again, hey, that horse, do I really need that horse? Does that horse bring me pleasure or weigh me down? Does it limit my possibilities or expand my possibilities? So you have to start looking at all your stuff and asking yourself that. And then I discovered Bob Wells. We all know this guy, Bob Wells, king of the road, man. Bob Wells, cheaprvliving.com. Here's a guy that I thought had it figured out. He lives in a van down by the river. Yeah. And we laugh. But I met Bob Wells. Everything he owns in the whole world is in that van. And if Bob Wells decides to bug out today, how long you reckon it'd take him to be on the road? 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Everything he owns is right there. And it weighs probably, van and all, probably 6,000 pounds. We had Jessica Mills at 30 pounds. I got Bob Wells at 6,000 pounds. What do you reckon my blacksmith shop weighed? That's just one. That's just one thing. What do you reckon, you know, pick a topic. So we discovered this guy. And again, we're kind of unhappy. We're both early retirees. We're kind of both unhappy with what we built, where we are. What are we going to do? Our new plan. Get an RV and travel the country. It worked for Bob Wells. It'll work for us. Maybe we'll just be nomads. Maybe we will. And that may work for you. It did not work for us. This picture is actually taken at the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous in Quartzsite, Arizona, Quartzsite, New Mexico. Yeah, Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, just 12,000 of your best nomad friends, all on BLM land out there, shitting in buckets. You know, so, and by their standards, we were absolutely luxurious in this because everyone else, you see in the background, they're all in bands and stuff like that. So, so we traveled all around the country. We came through Texas, along the Mexico border, all the way to California, all the way to the Redwoods, all the way back through Grand Canyon, Wyoming, Yosemite, North Dakota, South Dakota, Michigan, Ohio, UP, seen the whole country. And we just knew that when we slide into one little town here, it's going to say home. This is where I want to be. It didn't. You know why? Because the whole time I'm traveling, I'm worried about my stuff back in Ohio. What Bob Wells can travel, he doesn't worry about his stuff somewhere else. He's got none. And that works for him, but it didn't work for me. So the whole time I travel, I'm worried about all my stuff. Someone's going to steal my stuff, you know? And so we did that for a while. This year, the RTR is happening in, January? Probably January. They're expecting 750,000 people to be in RVs in Quartzsite, Arizona. Quartzsite, Arizona is a town of 3,000 people. 750,000 people on BLM land. So the nomad lifestyle is getting harder and harder to do. It's gotten too popular. They've sold too many campers. And so that didn't work for us. So we came back and decided to sell our house. Didn't know where we were going to go. Had no idea, but got to do something. So we decided to sell our wonderful home where we raised our family. How do you sell your house in the middle of an pandemic? Well, the first thing you do is you get Jack's book on Amazon about how to sell your house. What is it, $3, $5, whatever it is. Like well worth whatever. And you follow the directions in the book. You make your house 1% better than everything else out there. And in the middle of a pandemic, well, so I back up. I did all that. Spent maybe 6-8 months fixing the house up. I brought in a realtor. I had friends who had a realtor friend. I know you don't like realtors. I didn't like realtors. But I called this guy. I said, hey, I hear you're good. Come show me what you got. So the kid sat down, young guy, sat down at my table. He said, I can get you this number for your house. I said, you're nuts. You're absolutely out of your mind nuts. He says, I guarantee it. I said, son, let me sign. Earn your money. Put my house on the market. 18 days later, I had a full price offer. Get out. We smoked it. Right. Yeah. We thought we had a year because he sat down with us. Thank you, Lynn. He put 3 prices down on a paper. He says, this is the price I can get you if you got to be out in 30 days. This is the price I can get you if you need 6 months. This is the price if you're willing to wait a year. We'll throw this price out there and see what sticks. So I said, well, let's go for that price. More is better. I like money. Got that price 18 days later. All right. We had people, wonderful people, by the way. They appreciated what I did with the house being hand built. They came from Chicago. They wanted out of Chicago in the middle of a pandemic. Yep. So we sold our house. Had nowhere to go. So I'd already sold the RV. Yeah, I already sold the RV. I'll come back to it, Jake. Hang in there, man. I need a gun. We'd already sold the RV. So I was suddenly gone from a slow bug out to an emergency bug out. And this is where decisions have to get made. And this is really the meat of what I want to talk about here. I had 60 days to get out. Now, I had already gotten rid of a lot of my stuff because I had to clear it out in order to show the house. But I was intending to build another house in Ohio. I was going to have a house in Ohio, maybe a house, Snowbird, Florida, whatever. So I'd set aside 2 storage buildings full of everything I needed for another house. Okay? That was the first thing I did to clear out my stuff. I had kept a lot of my tools, a lot of my hobbies. I put it all in storage. And then it turned out I didn't have time to build another house. I had to get out. I had 20 years of accumulated stuff. And when I tell you I had stuff, I mean I had stuff. One of my side hustles back in the day was I was an auctioneer. 10, I'd be 12 and a half, I'd be 15, 15, which meant I went to an auction every Saturday. And I stayed to the end. You know what happens at the end? Dollar boxes. Yeah, and they're great. I mean, yeah, a box with 5 quarts of oil and 3 cans of spray lube and a can of starter fluid for $1. Why would you not take that home? It's stuff I use.
Of them already.
Yeah, it's stuff I use every day. Now, remember the pictures I showed you about the stuff? I had racks of cans of WD-40 half used because it didn't cost me nothing, right? So I had stuff and I had to deal with it, but I was under the impression that more stuff made me more prepared, more resilient. I was more resilient if Red Dawn happened, if the grid went down, stayed down. But what if that never happened? Was I more resilient or not? So I had to ask myself, what do I really need? And this is the most what do I really want anyway? I had to ask myself. So, like I said, I have a pheasant shotgun, right? 20 years I've been going to South Dakota on opening day, killing pheasants with my brother-in-law and some friends. Done that for 20 years. Do I want to do that again? What if just because I've done it for 20 years, do I really need to do it again? What if I don't want to do it again? Can I admit it to myself? I've probably gone the last 5 years just because it's what I do. It's who I am. I never gave myself permission to say, do I even really want this anymore? It's hard. I had to look my brother-in-law in the eye and say, I don't want to do this no more. Get someone else to go. Maybe that's the only thing you have in common with that person. Do I really enjoy blacksmithing anymore, or do I do it just because I have all this stuff? Do I enjoy keeping rabbits? You have them, but do you do it because of inertia, or do you do it because it brings you joy? So every item I touched, I had to pick up every item in my life and ask myself, does it bring me joy? Does it bring me? Yeah. Oh God. Oh. Anyway, I had to ask myself about every possible thing. Quick story on this. This is a nice mandolin. I don't play mandolin. But I thought I wanted to, so I bought one. I bought a fairly nice middle-of-the-road instrument. What my plan was to learn how to play, good enough to play in a little bluegrass jam band, right? And the idea of that struck me as being cool. The truth of reality, I pecked at it for a little while and put it under the bed. $500-600 in resources, had lived under my bed for 10 years. I had to pull it out and face that reality that I'm never going to learn to play well enough to be in a jam band, right? I had the stuff. I was never going to build a go-kart, build a greenhouse. I had all the stuff. I gave Nick a bunch of it. I had totes for an aquaponics system. We were here 4 years ago. We cut totes off. We flipped them over. I can't wait. I brought totes in. They were sitting there. I'm never going to take up, log cabin. Remember when I was young, I was a Boy Scout camp ranger. I was going to build a log cabin, live in that cabin like Daniel Boone. Life was going to be great. So I got every tool I needed to build a log cabin. Hewing adze, felling hatchets, draw knives, spud bars for taking off bark. You know how many log cabins I ever built? 0. Timber framing. I'm going to be Amish someday and help a timber framer barn. I had every, and because I had every tool for timber framing, because I was an auctioneer, I had an opportunity to say, that chisel's better than the one I have. Boom. Upgrade my stuff, right? So I had the stuff. Never used it. I'm not going to take up all this stuff. But what I realized, I was addicted to collecting some days. I was addicted to collecting possibilities. Y'all got one of these? That's the ultimate someday. That's the ultimate someday, right? Here's where it gets tough, is you're dealing with emotions. It's not just stuff. You're attached to your stuff. We're Americans. We're attached to our stuff. When you get faced with getting out in 60 days or 30 days, you will be overwhelmed. You will absolutely be overwhelmed. The mandolin back there, the money was already gone. That's an important concept. The money's gone. Am I going to toss it in the trash? No, I can get a few $100 for it in return, but in most cases, the money's already gone. And here's the most important thing. The same with buying a house. WWSD. You know what that is? What would Spock do? Yeah. Every item you pick up, you ask yourself, what would Spock do? Yes. And you have to use logic. All right. Keep that which makes you happy and discard everything else. Because if it doesn't make you happy, it's dragging you down. I didn't realize that. I do now. Everything is going to pick you up or weigh you down. Anybody know what this is? Extra credit? Upgrade. I love that. Thank you.
Double D.
I could not do a PowerPoint presentation without Upgrade. If you haven't seen the movie, you got it's great. So Upgrade got in my head, and even though he doesn't spell it the same, I'll use Upgrade. These are some of the drawers I just randomly open drawers in my shop. Boom, 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 boom. All of that got replaced with that right there. got rid of all that junk, replaced it. Yeah, replaced it with one bag, and I upgraded all my stuff. That's how I'm tying an upgrade. I had a picture upgrade. So I got rid of all my junk pairs of pliers. I kept one good pair. It brings me joy when I use it. All right, all positive, no negative. A tenth of storage. I said as an auctioneer, every Saturday we went to sale. Somebody died, grandma died. We're getting rid of all their stuff. Sooner or later, all your stuff is going to be disposed of. And you have an option. You can wait till you die and let it be done, or you can do it yourself on your own time and your own way. How are you going to get rid of your crap? This is really kind of hard. Facebook Marketplace, yeah, you can. It works. I got rid of a lot of stuff on Facebook Marketplace. My wood barn. I had a wood barn, lumber barn. I was a cabinet maker. I had 5,000 feet of lumber down in the wood barn. One of the pieces of lumber was this thick and about this wide. It had been cut out for a gun stock. Okay. And when I advertised it on Marketplace, I said, all this wood, they even have a piece of wood for a gun stock. You know what happened? Banned. I got banned off of Marketplace in the middle of my short time span to get rid of all my shit. I thought, all right, you sons of bitches. I'll use my wife's Facebook. So I took all my pictures, transferred it over to her Facebook, put it back out there. You know what they did? Ban her. Because the pictures that I took have metadata on them. Yep. And they recognized the metadata pictures on her. They just knew what I was doing. So I thought, all right, you sons of bitches, we're going around you one more time. I used my phone number. I said, don't call my wife, call me. They knew my phone number and would not let me post it. So in the middle of all this, I got banned. So I never messed with if it wasn't $100 or more, I never messed with trying to sell it. If it's less than $100, I'm going to do something else with it. Craigslist, absolute wasteland. You all know that. eBay, I hate people. So I never wanted to deal with eBay. Yard sale. I had 3-4 yard sales. Each time I would go through this, I'm going to keep, this I'm going to get rid of. So I get rid of it. And then I would look at my pile again. Yeah, I can get rid of that. As it got closer and closer to actually having to move this shit, it got more in a yard sale. I had one killer yard sale. I had people lined up from an hour before it opened. So my guns, like I said, I had a few guns. Unfortunately, they were all lost in a boating accident. What a shame. Yeah. The other thing you can do, if you have enough stuff, have an auction. After doing 50 auctions a year, I can tell you that when someone dies, they have the homestead. This is so you can get a number in your head. They have the homestead, not counting the house, just your stuff. When you die, you'll probably die with $4,000 to $5,000 worth of stuff. That's your pots and pans. That's your, the rototiller, your skill saw. That's what it's worth. $4,000 to $5,000. We proved that true over and over and over. Unless you're exceptional and you have a lot of stuff, your kids are going to take 2 antiques. The other kid's going to take the car. We're going to sell all the rest of your stuff, and that's what it's going to amount to. The nice thing is, it starts today. It's end today. All your shit is gone, even the garbage. They hand you a check, and you're out of there. You can donate charity. Maybe get a taxi donation. What do you do with all the food in your pantry? Food bank. Oh shit. Dumpster. Use it. I chose to give away most of my stuff. I turned physical capital into social capital. I'm going to pass that. This is a toolbox I had. This is my work toolbox. For 26 years, this is the center of my life. Every morning, set your lunchbox down, open your toolbox, everything I needed to do my job. This is the most important thing to me for 26 years. When I rolled it out of the factory, brought it home, suddenly it wasn't that important anymore. What did I do with that? I gave it away to a friend. He was starting a business, and I gave it away. Social capital. What do you do with Granddad's shotgun? Oh, that's tough. Well, how about Grandma's cast iron kettle? I had that too. I had my grandma's mantle clock. These are the hard things. You have to pick it up and say, what do I do with this? Choose to do it now. My Eagle Scout medal. I worked my ass off for that. You keep it, you're never going to wear a uniform again. I know. You've got that box at home, right? Your wedding dress. We've toted that thing around for 30 years. I love you. I love you, honey. But, you know, my wife has kept every birthday card I ever got her. Someday, someone's going to have to dispose of that. Are you going to move it? If you move it across the street, yeah, okay. Maybe you got storage. You're going to move it. You're going to move it a county away. You're going to move it across the country. You're going to move it to Venezuela when you have a job opportunity? Hell no. Sooner or later, your stuff's going to get disposed of. Here's the most important thing. You can give away a cherished item and still keep the memory. My granddaddy's shotgun, I remember. You know, I gave it away. I passed it on to other family members. Okay. I told them the story. But it didn't get out of my heart. Your heart is where that stuff matters. It's not the item. I was never going to shoot that shotgun again. And so it's a double. I still keep the memory, but I'm a pretty good guy for letting one of my ancestors have it. You can still keep that. What you can do now, digitize everything. That's the number one thing. Digitize everything that you can because you can move that. That's easy. Upgrade your stuff. Get rid of the trash. Keep the good. Move on. Dispose of your excess. It's almost all excess. Ask Jessica Mills how much she needs, 30 pounds. Beyond that right there, we've already established this is the minimum I need. Deal with family heirlooms now. I cried when I gave away my grandmother's .22 rifle. I did. But my cousin who got it cried even harder. Okay? That was cool. That was the cool moments. Yep. So admit you're not going to get to that project someday. That was one of the hard ones for me. Yeah. Did you ever do anything with solar panels I gave you?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I had a complete hot water solar system that I was going to do someday. I gave it to Nick. Make a plan. All right? Make a plan. Make an exit strategy. Do it now because you're going to exit sooner or later. Invest in knowledge instead of more stuff. The ultimate prepper asset. Get healthy. Moving is hard work. Don't wait till you're in the middle of it. And even Bob Wells can find 10 items in his van to get rid of today. I challenge you. Go home. Find 10 items. Make them go away. What will you find when you clear it all out? Nick asked me this question earlier this week. What do you find when all your stuff's gone? Freedom. Freedom. Suddenly, freedom and happiness can take the place of all that stuff. You got rid of excess, do it again. You're going to move yourself, you're going to hire it done. Really not important how you do it because you've got rid of all your stuff. You can hire it done, but they're just going to move your problems with you. Literally, in my community, I see moving vans show up. One of the things they unwrap is the trash can full of trash. They moved it from the other place. Don't be that guy. Your world changes. How do civilizations collapse? Jack was on Jack's podcast a few weeks ago. Gradually, and then all at once. Anyone tell me what's significant about this date? Exactly. That's the day the Civil War started. You think a lot of people in Virginia wish they might have been in Georgia, or a lot of people in Georgia wish they'd been in Virginia before that day? It's possible.
They knew it was coming.
They knew it was coming. They had opportunities, but you know why they didn't move? Inertia. They had stuff. How about this date? This is one we all lived through. This is the day the Soviet Union stopped being the Soviet Union. You go to bed at night, you wake up the next day on the 12th. Now you're in 35, 36 different enclaves. You think those people saw it coming? You think they had a chance to move beforehand? And now they didn't have a chance. So I don't know when it's coming, people. I really don't. I don't know if it's coming. But if you're going to have a fighting chance to be where you want to be, you got to start today and get rid of your excess. Nick told a story about a tree out here. Tree below his garden. Got to stop? All right. Don't let your roots hold you back, people. What's a snake cage called?
It's called a vivarium.
A vivarium. So it's got a light over here where it's warm. It's cold over here. Snake knows where it wants to be, doesn't it? The snake's going to find its happy spot. Are you smarter than a snake? Really? I mean, think about it. Are you smarter than a snake? So my last prop here is I did get rid of almost everything, but I kept my grandmother's mantel clock. This was in her house when she was a kid. This is my dad. My dad looked at this every day. He's gone now, and now it's mine. You don't have to get rid of everything, but I kept this for one reason only. It reminds me of one of my favorite sayings, TikTok. I see it, I remember that life's going on. Life's going on, whether you want it or not. Remember that. Thanks.
Jazz
Questions?
hands. Jazz hands. All right. Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's on. No, you're fine. So thanks for the presentation. We have a 15-minute break now, and we will be back to the next session. If you have questions for Chris, see him outside or
Okay.
somewhere.